Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we are going to have a little chat about this, Armies of Renown. So there is a new system, the Armies of Renown system, where you can build devastating themed forces, and it sounds very much, just on first reading of that particular title, like the old formations system, does it not? Kind of sounds like that, and to be honest, it feels like it's going to be something like that as well. So let's have a quick look through a couple of things that are highlighted in this article. So this is something that's showing up in the Caradon book, so Warzone Caradon, and many of the forces fighting are fairly normal, but there's a trio of codex supplements for Freeblade Knights, Drukhari, which will be the Witch Cult of Strife, which is Lancelot, and Forge World Metallica, and the never-before-seen Armies of Renown system. So, by choosing to build an Army of Renown, you'll unlock powerful additional rules for your units in return for a few limitations on what you can bring to the table. We've picked up a couple of our favourites from the feature-stuffed Warzone Caradon Act 1 to show you the kind of things you can expect from this new system. Now, of course, the idea of limitations on what you can bring to the table isn't exactly new when it comes to Armies of Renown, because that's exactly what the detachment system is. If you bring a Vanguard detachment, you can't bring a bunch of troops, for instance. So it's not like that's anything new, it's the fact that these limitations will come with specifically powerful rules, like pointed out there, powerful additional rules. My worry with this, mainly, is that everything in 9th, the power is being ramped up. Like, everything just feels stronger and, like, harder hitting, and admittedly, more fun, but it's more powerful on top of more powerful. And this stuff is dropping really soon after, the Death Guard Codex wasn't that long ago, and the Drukhari Codex is going to come out at the same time as this book, on the very same day, in fact. It feels like the timing's a bit off to introduce this sort of thing, but that's a topic for a different video, in fairness, because I think there's it feels like there's some day one DLC stuff going on, which is not great, but we'll cover that actually probably today in a different video, otherwise this one will be way too long. But anyway, back to the Army of Renown stuff. So the first one they give as an example is the Terminus Est Assault Force. So Typhus, Nurgle's chosen herald and master of the warship Terminus Est, could hardly be described as a man of subtle means. He is quite happy to employ formations of Plagueburst crawlers and Plague Burst crawlers and Hellbrutes in their signature inexorable advance. By far his favourite method of confronting the enemy is with a devastating hammer blow from massed squads of infantry. So, what do you get from a Terminus Est assault force, since this is a Army of Renown and it comes with powerful new rules? So Typhus likes throwing legions of Poxwalkers at people and then teleporting some Plague Marines just around the place, crucial positions. So your armies cannot include any units with the vehicle keyword if you're using a Terminus Est assault force. All units in your army must be Death Guard, and if they are from a Plague Company, they must be drawn from the Harbingers. Death Guard Psychers in your army can generate their psychic powers from the Festa discipline, and Terminus Est assault force units in your army gain the Outbreak Assault ability described below. So, that is, if a Terminus Est assault force bubonic Astartes unit is placed into strategic reserves, then in the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, instead of arriving from strategic reserves as described in the Warhammer 40k core book, you can set up that unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. Now, okay, so, let's provide just a tiny bit of context. So, you already know this, I'm sure the vast majority of you, but if you don't use strategic reserves all that often, essentially there are limitations to what you can do depending on the battle round. So battle round 1, you can't do strategic reserves, you just can't put anything down out of strategic reserves. Whether that applies here, I don't know. I genuinely don't. It says that instead of arriving as described, you can set up that unit anywhere, so that kind of implies that it's just a strategic reserve, kind of put down your model, but without any of the restrictions apart from that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. Does it still count as reinforcement? That's another thing that kind of should be cleared up, because if it's just a case of instead of using the rules, you just put them down, that means you can put them down, move them about, do whatever you like. If you take something out of reinforcements, then, I even put this up so you can have a quick look. as you can see, they cannot make a normal move, advance, fall back, or remain stationary this turn, and they always count as having moved this turn. So when they're put down, that's it. They can't do anything else in terms of moving about the board. And the same applies for Strategic Reserve. They cannot make a normal move, advance, or fall back this turn. Does that still count? When it says instead of arriving, does it just mean that none of the limitations apply whatsoever? So Battle Round 1, you can just slam your guys down with it like more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. They can move. They can do what they want. Like, is that how it works? It kind of reads like that. It's the instead of arriving from Strategic Reserves as described, because there's a lot of stuff described. It describes not being able to do it Battle Round 1. Battle Round 2, it has to be set up wholly within 6 inches of any battlefield edge, not the enemy's edge or deployment zone. And then if it's Battle Round 3, it's within 6 inches of any battlefield edge, not enemy battlefield edge. And like, there's a lot of caveats attached to that, and this kind of feels like it's just saying, ignore all of that, just put your lads down, off you go. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether it's a case of me thinking this is, I don't know, more complicated than it is, or whether it's actually incredibly simple in that it is just a case of, yeah, stick your lads down, off you go. They can move, they can fall back, they can advance, because instead of using those rules, you're just putting them on the board. If that's what it is, that's a lot of maneuverability, and that's a lot of being able to get around. And that's, from Battle Round 1, if it ignores all of that, you can just slam them down, and then they can move their full movement. It's interesting and it's fun, but yeah, I'm assuming that's what it is. But it's, yeah, we'll just have to let me know what you think. Okay, so they also get a heap of new relics as well, and also some stratagems. So there's Callous Disregard, Terminus Est Assault Force, Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Even when the hordes at the fore of an assault force have reached enemy lines, the second wave simply opens fire, caring little for whether their shots hit friend or foe. So in your shooting phase, you can select one Terminus Est Assault Force unit that's Astartes from your army that is eligible to shoot. Until the end of the turn, models in that unit can target enemy units within the engagement range of friendly Poxwalkers or Plague Followers units from your army. This is cool, I like this. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit within engagement range of a friendly Poxwalkers or Plague Followers unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll, and if the hit roll is not successful, that attack scores a hit against Poxwalkers or Plague Followers unit instead. I have to say, I really like that. That's a lot of fun. That's cool. Why would you care? Why would you care? You are a Death Guard Astartes. Why would you in any way care about shooting dumb cultists or Poxwalkers? You wouldn't. You would let them get in close, have a bit of a go, and absolutely shoot the hell out of them and anything else near them, because there's just going to be more of them. You're going to make more. There's going to be more showing up. What's the problem? Love it. Really like that. That's a lot of fun. So, if you've ever wondered why your Plague Marines would bulk at shooting through a few measly Poxwalkers, now you have your answer. They were just low on command points before. So there's also Lung Rot. The Psyker daubs his helmet with a warp rune and immediately expels a deep hacking cough. So, like I did when I had pneumonia twice. As he does, his foes are racked by a paroxysm, causing them to stumble and double over while their lungs rapidly rot. Nice. Malediction. Lungrot has a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches of this Psyker. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, the unit cannot advance. Each time it's selected to charge, only eligible units within 6 inches can be selected as the target. And each time a charge roll is made for that unit, it cannot be re-rolled. Again, I quite like that. It's got a cool flavour to it, making it so that your smashy, stabby lads can't get in close because they keep doubling over from coughing too much is very Nurgle. Nice kind of a nice denial thing there. I quite like that. Yeah, that's fun as well. So teleporting behind enemy lines can carry the risk of being charged by all manner of fearsome opponents. So the sorcerers know just how to stop them in their tracks. Yep. So there's also Rot Grip. This power fist slowly fuses with its bearer, melding into their flesh and sending proboscis-like tubes deep into rotten tissue, to imbibe from the plague-laden blood within. So infused, rot grip strikes as easily and as deftly as the owner's own fist would. Ooh, interesting. Liquefying victims within its diseased energy field. Model equipped with a power fist or plague claw only. This relic replaces either of those and has the following profile. So it's melee, obviously, a strength times 3. Oh, minus 3 AP and 2 damage. Yeah, I quite like that. Nice. Oh, I do like that. That's fun. That is fun. Oh, I like it. I mean, these seem like fun rules, but my worry is just like how many, like how much crazy, fun, strong stuff can you pack into every single force, whilst also giving them things like Armies of Renown before it becomes messy, like really messy. And are we not at risk of things like stuff that doesn't have a codex? Like this stuff is in Caradon, Act 1. So this is in not a codex. This is in a supplement, and there are, the guys that don't have their codexes massively outnumber the ones who do. Most of 40k is still running on the 8th edition codexes with stuff from I've forgotten the name of it, the last campaign thing that came before 9th. Is this not just like piling on the imbalance? I mean, it feels like it kind of is. So, have you ever wanted to see a man crush a titan in his hands? Your Chaos Lord can wound a Warlord Titan on a 3+. I mean, when you put it like that, it just seems absurd. Like, it just seems absolutely mental, to be honest. Anyway, Army of Renown, Mechanicus Defense Cohort. What do? You abandon the Feek and Weeble. The Feek and Weeble flesh. That's what it's called now. Fight me. By tweaking their more mechanical creations to better hold the line at any cost, the defense cohorts of Forged World Metallica are able to shrug off damage that would fell a lesser automaton and more accurately lay down a storm of fire against the shambling hordes charging their lines. It's so effective, in fact, that the idea can be picked up by any Forge World you might wish to choose. Okay, so this isn't restricted to just like Okay, sure. So, Mechanicus Defense Cohort, your army cannot include Skitarii units. Cataphren Breachers, Cataphren Destroyers, Servitors, and Castellan robots in your army gain the Extremist Sentinel Protocols ability. The names. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model in this unit, if this unit is either wholly within its controller's deployment zone, or if every model in this unit is within range of an objective marker, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimum of 1. Okay, so they in this book get what Death Guard have got. Alright, cool. If it holds steady, then until the end of the phase, any Overwatch attacks made by models in this unit score hits on unmodified rolls of 5+ instead of 6+. Okay, cool. If it's set to defend, then until the end of the phase, it cannot fire Overwatch, but until the end of the next fight phase, each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. Okay. Again, I quite like it. So, while they might not have a new psychic discipline of their own, they also gain new stratagems, of course, and a powerful relic. So, the stratagem that's being shown is Pre-Calibrated Purge Solution, 1 command point, battle tactic stratagem. A swarm of servo skulls has collated data on the enemy's deployment zone, so that our cohort warriors can better engage them from our own fortified battle lines. So when an extremist sentinel unit from your army that is wholly within your deployment zone is selected to shoot, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit that is wholly within the enemy deployment zone, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. As befits the sensibilities of the defense cohort, their units prepare extensively for the opening salvos of a battle. So bolster defences is 2 command points, strategic ploy stratagem. There is nothing that cannot be improved by the blessed administrations of the omniscience faithful. Yeah, entirely true and accurate, I'll give them that. This stratagem use this stratagem before the battle after determining deployment zones. Select 1 area, terrain, or obstacles feature within your deployment zone. That terrain feature gains the light cover terrain trait. If it already had it, then add 2 to the saving throw instead of 1. You can only use this stratagem once. Invulnerable saving throws are still not affected. Okay, alright, yeah, yeah, it's just not exciting. Fine, but not exciting. And finally, Forge Fire. This masterwork weapon is rumoured to have been defending the Omnicized realms since the Siege of Mars in aeons past. Eons? Aeons? Sure. Model equipped with a Volkite blaster only, this relic replaces it. Range 36 inches, type heavy 3, strength 6, AP minus 2, damage 2. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage. Okay. Yeah, again, fine. Nowhere near as fun as the Power Fist. I'm just going to throw that right out. The Power Fist is just funny. It's ridiculous. I love it. Not as much fun as that, but sure. So yeah, any tech priest worth their salt is tinkered with 1 or 2 pieces of hazardous technology to create wildly destructive weapons. Yeah, I don't know. This feels weird. I like the idea of the Army of Renown. I do like the idea of it. I mean, it's not really anything new. It's not like a new system. It's just formations back again, is what it is. Which, you know, that's already a thing. One of the codexes on this shelf behind me is full of Space Marine formations. My Terminator army is a formation. It's not a new idea by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, I don't know. For me, it really just feels like Ninth has been ramping up the power, like just ramping everything up to 11. You've got weapons are just stronger. They're just flat out stronger across the board for pretty much everyone. It just feels like things are kind of ramping up. Things are getting stronger and more powerful, and the introduction of Armies of Renown is like, okay, so formations are back. Does it need it? I'm all for making more stuff that means you can make the army you want. This is the thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for being able to customize your force, being able to build the army that you want to build with as fewer penalties as possible. If you want to make an armoured company, you should be able to make an armoured company, and for it to be fun to play and not be totally worthless on the tabletop. I like the idea of being able to make the army that you want to make and it still be worth something to play. Maybe not win any tournaments, but not just be like, why are you even here? And more tools to enable that, I'm not going to complain about. But the additional stuff that comes with formations, which is literally what this is, it just feels like an extra layer of complicated. It just feels like more stuff to keep track of, more things to remember, more. It just feels like more, and I don't necessarily know that we need more. Anyway, this is in danger of going on forever, so let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Any horror stories from the days of formations, then feel free to share those. Do you reckon this is heading down that kind of path, or we're not too worried, just a good idea? In fact, that's, I think, one of the biggest questions. Do you think this is just a good idea? And if so, why? And if you don't think it's a good idea, also, why? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click it if you don't want to. As always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.